This week on the OneCast, we're joined by Josh Hooks, National Professional Fishing League Pro. He's going to break down North Carolina's best fishing and his life on the tour.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's going to be a bad day.
Go ahead, Pete.
No, I don't want to.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the OneCast. We got a great episode for you guys this evening, and we are super excited to bring you the last member of the D team. But before we do that, head on over to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code TheOneCast. Get your hands on those snagless jigs, weedless Neds, soft plastics, all the merchandise over there at OneCast Fishing. Support him as he supports the show all the time. Where else do they need to go?
Make sure you go over into your phone, go to the App Store playlist, download the Deep Dive app before your next fishing trip. Take a look at all the features they have. Help plan your fishing trip. Catch more fish on the water. Be more efficient. Look at the stream flow, their weather, barometric pressure, best locations, best baits, and just become overall just another tool to catch more fish.
That's right. Head on over also to Hobie Eyewear. Use the link that we always provide to you guys to save money. HobieEyewear.com is providing you with all the great sunglasses, to include the new Hull float frame, which is 100% upcycled kayak plastic, environmentally friendly. So head on over, use our link, save a bunch of money, get your hands on those floating frames. You're not going to be disappointed. And then also head on over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Get your hands on that UPF gear, those hats, those gloves, those buffs, all those things to help you stay protected from the UV rays. That's CarolinaWatersNC.com. All one word, the OneCast. Pete.
You good?
Let's go.
You done? You were rolling there. Last, but certainly not least, if you're looking to buy a piece of paradise, a home, anything in Central North Carolina, make sure you hit up our friend Terry Carpenter, licensed NC Realtor at Coldwell Banker, Howard, Perry, and Walson. Just won Realtor of the Month for the month of January 2025. Right. So he's working hard out there getting people their dream homes. You can get his link in our link tree if you want to reach out to him that way. You can email him at carpentert@hpw.com. Or you can give him a call, 919-475-5002. We'll be sharing his stuff so you can get info that way as well.
That's right. Look at that. 3 minutes. 3 minutes for our intro. We really cut this one down. We were talking about that before the show. So we're super excited.
Trey was very excited about
it. I'm jazzed, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. I look like a bum. I got facial hair. My hair's all long. I can't grow it on the top, so I'm growing it out the back. So kind of like, I'm here to party, but I still mean business type deal. I don't think I can grow a full mullet, but we're going to try
Get that bald one going.
I think you should try.
That bullet.
Yeah. Stocks and bonds in the front, beer bongs.
Well, since he's already rapping here and you guys heard him back when we had the entire D team on, we are joined by Josh Hooks. We appreciate you coming down here. And you actually live pretty much right around the corner from here. So you're the final member of the D team, but you're a lot more than that. And that's really what we want the audience to know.
He's the final member that's been on the show.
Final member that's been
There's no order in the D team.
There is no order. The only order there was. Yeah. Yeah. But no, man, we really do appreciate you coming down here, and we want the audience to really know your story. And so unless anybody's got anything, Josh, if you want to take it away, man, like give the audience your story, where you're from and how you came to be where you are today.
Yeah, I actually grew up on Jordan Lake, like we were talking about before, in the back of Beaver Creek, and that's what, I still live on the same road. I bought some land, built a house out there, me and my wife and my daughter, Paisley. And it's home, and I grew up on the same road, like I said. And, me and Dad would go. Dad works in Fayetteville. We'd take the bass boat to Fayetteville so we wouldn't have to come home and hook back up to the boat to go so we could go fishing. So, my dad taught me at a young age, the ropes and, what it takes to catch fish. I mean, and we were never like tournament fishermen, but, my dad made the state team a couple of times. Like he fished tournaments, but when we were out there, we were going for whatever was biting kind of thing. So, but I wouldn't have the, instilled the love for, catching fish and whatnot if it wasn't for him taking me at a young age. But, as far as like my tournament career, I think the first tournament I actually ever fished was with my dad in one of his clubs, and I never forget. This is kind of a funny but embarrassing story. There was a turtle in the water. We were at Car Lake, and I had thrown my spinnerbait over by the turtle, and I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I think that turtle's going to bite my bait." And he was like, "Boy, just reel it in, you know." Well, the turtle disappears, and my line's going this way, and I'm reeling, and all of a sudden the fish jumps. It was like a Car Lake special, 2.5,
2.5 pounds.
yeah, 2.5 pounds. And I thought it was a turtle the whole time. I wasn't paying attention, and he saw the fish jump, and he was like, "You got a bass, reeled in." And come to find out that day, it was like a cold day. I would have won their club tournament with that one fish. Whoa. I thought it was a turtle the whole time.
Did it come off?
No, I got it. But see, I wasn't in the club. I was just fishing. But so Dad was like, "Man, you would have won the tournament." Or I think it was either won the tournament or big fish. I was like 5, so
yeah.
But as far as, I know Dad, when they used to have the Rangers owner tournaments, and we had a whole 361 Ranger that Dad, went through and did everything, got us jerseys, and we went down there, and that's probably like the first real tournament I ever fished. And, you see that kind of, that's like, was obviously a really well-run tournament. You got like Jimmy Houston rolling around with his laugh and yeah. Another story about that. My dad went up to Jimmy Houston that day at the tournament, and he was like, "Let me hear that laugh." And he said, "Well, hell, you got to tell me a joke first." Jimmy Houston's a good dude. But as far as fishing around here, I went to NC State, and ever since I was 16, got my license. My parents lived, in Apex, so when I didn't have class, or probably sometimes when I did have class, I would be maybe fishing at Harris or Jordan or Falls somewhere. But I used to go to the lake all the time, and I would always see Jamie, which I didn't at the time. He was fishing by himself, and one day he was just like, "Hey man, like, I see you out here all the time by yourself, and I'm always by myself. Like, why don't you just call me and we can go, we'll fish together." So like, that's really what happened. And, me and him obviously have been successful around here, and that dude's a hell of a fisherman and a hell of a friend. Just a good person. A lot of people think he's a jerk, but he's actually really nice.
No. Well, I mean, when you're competing against, I think when you judge somebody when you're competing against them, that's the wrong time to judge them, because every one of us has a different level of competitiveness to us. I think I can be pretty friendly, but I still want to beat the brakes off from you, and you could be my best friend while we're out on the water.
For sure. Yeah, we're all out there for blood, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I started fishing tournaments. And then obviously, I've fished a bunch with Tyler recently and had some success. But I just really like to fish. People are always like, why do you do this? And I'd be lying if I just like to fish. I don't know. I like to outsmart those little smart jokers, and sometimes it's a little bit more challenging than because most people you see, they're like, "Oh, you're a fisherman, like you throw the cork in the worm."
That's what everybody
You must be getting hammered on your boat.
That was somebody I work with asked if I would take them fishing, and I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "You got beer, right?" And I was like, "No, bro, it ain't like that, bud. I might not be your guy."
It turns into a chess match. It's crazy how those little green fish with miniature brains are so frustrating for us to catch.
But they're like crack.
Yes.
And you just want to keep catching them.
Yeah. And
they don't even fight that good compared to other fish.
Yeah.
I think it's the challenge more than anything.
Stripers fight.
Yeah. I caught plenty of those at Murray. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like I would take, if I had to pick, I would take 40 3-pound smallmouth over 6-pound largemouth.
Yeah.
A smallmouth pulls 3 times as hard. That's what I mean. Like in the bass world, they're not the hardest fighting bass.
No,
spots fight hard. Largemouth give you a good couple seconds, and then they kind of give
But
up.
nobody eats top water like a largemouth.
No. But
nobody does.
So I got to ask, did your dad grow up in Apex and like in this area? So was he here when they filled the lake?
Yeah. So
he's got all that.
Yeah. So I mean, and like the road I live on is a logging road, that they carried trees out.
Okay.
But yeah, Dad, I mean, I can remember going to the lake with Dad when the road to Avon Ferry ramp at Harris was dirt,
Okay.
And my dad would go so slow because he had that boat that he had just redone.
Didn't want to kick no rocks up.
Well, no, we would get almost to the ramp, and then here would come somebody from like the game lance running like 80, and he would be like, so then we would start coming over to Cross Point, even though it was a longer drive. Really, he'd go the back way just because the dirt road wasn't as long, and but see, there used to be nobody at the lakes really. I mean, back in the day. Now you're
It's
going to
packed.
get ran over.
I almost wonder if anybody has a job.
No, it's crazy. Like, I mean, we fished the Wednesday nighters. I ran them for many years, and it's just like you go out there and like, yeah, we have our 10 or 12 guys that usually fish, but there's like
30 other.
60 wakeboard boats out there, and like that's not a big enough lake for wakeboards.
Yeah.
The lake
It's a little
lights are always
sketchy.
an issue.
So when you were growing up, your dad would take you fishing. Are you an only child?
No, I actually have a younger brother
Okay.
and a sister that's 3 years younger or 2.5 years younger than me. My brother's 9 years younger than me.
Do they have the fishing bug?
Me and my brother just went to Jordan crappie fishing Sunday. My sister's got 3 kids and he's got 3 kids. So, I mean, yeah, we go when we can. But
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember as a kid, Dad taking me and my sister Emily and my brother James out, and we'd go, tight line, drop spider rigs and whatnot. My dad really likes to crappie fish, but I actually remember when I was a kid, and one day I caught a tag crappie, and so did my sister.
No kidding.
Yeah,
On
and
Jordan?
Isn't that worth money?
Yeah, I think I got like $25 and a hat or something.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I think my sister's was like $50.
Yeah, and back in
those.
those days, you could actually fill your car up with $25.
Yeah.
And have some left over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get a
And
stick
get a
of
honey
gum.
bun. Yeah, honey bun.
a honey bun.
now you're better off just lighting it on fire and watching it.
Yeah. So you got some siblings, and did they stay local after graduation and everything?
So my sister actually moved to the mountains. My grandma, who just passed away, she lives West Jefferson area, and she actually just moved into her house. Actually, I think last weekend. So, but yeah, we've always gone up to West Jefferson. Kelly Barefoot actually, Catch Outdoors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He actually has a place literally 2 doors down
Oh, that's
from
cool.
my grandma, where my grandma lived. I actually have a funny story about that. Kelly calls me one day and was like, "Hey man," he was like, "You would never believe what I just saw." And he was like, "I just bought this place in the mountains." He's like, "My driveway is like a 45-degree incline." He's like, "I get a knock on the door, and it's this old lady with a magazine, and it has your face on the front of it." And she says, I heard you like to fish. I just wanted to show you my grandson." and he said, "How did you get up here?" And she said, "Well, I just walked." And she like literally the driveway was straight up. And I went to Kelly's not long ago. You got to like get a run and start in the car to get up there. And my grandma was up there on his
She
front
just
porch.
humped it up there.
Yeah, and like literally walked right back to her house, and he was trying to take her home. She's like, "No, I'm fine." But small world, when the fishing world is a big, big community, and it's crazy to see. Like, I was in Arkansas in college, and some dude was like, "Yeah, man, I used to live down the street from your dad, and I went to state, and I heard that y'all were fishing." I mean, it's just crazy how these people get put in your path, kind of thing.
Well, it is. It's a big community.
It's a big, small world in fishing.
but it's a very small world.
Yeah,
It's tight and
Big community, small world. And I'm here to tell you right now. I mean, I heard, I moved here 17 years ago, but I didn't really start bass fishing until like 2016. I didn't really start bass fishing until like 2019, we'll say, or whatever. But I heard names like yours and Jamie Fajardo, and I never heard of Seth Ellis. Never
I think
heard of
that's.
him.
I think he's
And it's
a Falls guy.
I'm super surprised because he yells at everyone. Like, how do you not?
you definitely heard that. You just
We just heard him. We didn't hear of him.
But it is. You're right. Like it is. It's a really cool community. It's very dynamic. And there's a lot of like the old timers just respect this community too.
Yeah.
It's something so cool. Like you just love to fish. I love to fish. We have common ground and stuff. So, but when you moved on to NC State, so first, what'd you major in there?
I started out in engineering, but I fished too much, and I ended up in wildlife
Culinary arts.
Yeah, wildlife. I was underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually a certified wildlife biologist, but I do nothing with my degree.
So there's lots of that out there.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good time.
I mean, did you ever I know we're jumping ahead here, but you're a kid, you're going to high school. Were you a good high school student?
Yeah, I actually graduated with like a 4.3 or 4.4. Yeah, I was a smart kid, and I never studied.
It's way more than I had.
Yeah.
C's get degrees, Dicks.
C's
you
get
know.
degrees.
And I used to be into baseball and stuff.
Okay.
I actually just filled out our angler profile for the NPFL, and they're like random fact that no one know about you. And I literally broke my same hand on the same drill on my birthday during baseball tryouts 2 years in a row. And I was like, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a sign.
There's no third time's a charm
And
there.
You broke your hand
I-
pitching?
No, I played middle infield, and they always did that. Like, we'd just line up at second base, they hit the blooper over first base kind of drill. And both times I would catch it and my hand would roll and it snapped. It broke my bone right there in my hand twice, 2 times in a row.
Does it hurt when you set the hook?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
That's
I'm
all that
good.
matters.
Yeah, I mean, they hooked me up. My thumb might be a little smaller than the other one, but
So,
It's my strong hand.
so what, you went to college, obviously. Did you fish for the state team?
yeah, I actually didn't. No offense to the guys now, but we had a fishing team back then. Like we were good. But and I actually, one of my college roommates, me and him actually won the regional at Lake Erie in 2000, I think it was 9 or 10, maybe 2009. But yeah, we won. I'll never forget. That was the first big check I got to hold up. It was $10,000, and that was back in the day when we had to give 10% back to the school.
Oh, really?
Now they, and now there's not obviously that much money in it either.
Yeah.
But
isn't it mostly scholarships now too?
I think it
There's
is.
a lot of
which is
scholarships,
cool.
yeah.
I mean, because we all went and bought depth finders and stuff we didn't really need.
Beer.
But, yeah,
Beer.
I honestly think I bought a HDS 10 with my because we had to give 10% back to school, and then I think we had some stuff in the club that needed to be new scales, that kind of stuff. I think we ended up donating to some of that, but I think really that was when side scan had just come out, and I was like, I got some money,
Dude, I didn't even know anything about bass fishing at that time that you're talking about. Yeah.
and that was at Lake Erie, and that's when I love catching smallmouth, and I don't get to do it a lot, but
Sure.
I'll never forget. Like every time you drop it down, we were just drifting on these channel edges. There's a zebra mussel bar, and the waves are so big, you go up. And here you got to work your ass off to get a bite. You're skipping underneath the bushes, throwing something by it. I'm just sitting there throwing it out there, it hits the bottom. And no, you don't even have to do anything. You just hold it there. The wave goes up and you go down, and it just keeps pulling down. And you're like, damn, this is easy. So I fell in love with it because they're not the smartest, but they can be.
Yeah.
It happened to me this year. They vanish on you. But I never forget the captain that we had or whatever, because they used to do it when whoever didn't make the last day of I think it was at that point, it was the Stren or something
I think it was Stren, yeah.
But they would take out us, and they couldn't help us or anything. We would just more or less have to point and say, hey, we want to go over there, kind of thing. But I just never forget that guy was a guide on the lake, and he was like, man, he's like, yeah, you guys picked a pretty good spot here, kind of thing. He was like, I was like, how does it feel to catch a 5? That's what I've always wanted to do. And, because we had a bunch of 2 3/4 3-pounders. And then I set the hook, and that thing just dogged me for 10 seconds. Would never. And all of a sudden it just got slack, and he's like, that's a 5. And then all of a sudden it jumps out of the, the next wave over. And the thing's eye level with me. And I'm like, holy crap, shit. And once I saw that too, I was like, man, I got to get and I haven't been back since, but we did get to go to Saginaw this year. And I told all the guys at the house, I was like, I don't care how rough it is. He's like,
I'm going smallmouth fishing.
I was like, I will find somewhere where the wind ain't blowing. I'm going. And, I was lucky enough to, the last day, like I said, my smallmouth disappeared, but I was lucky enough to go out the last day in 7th place, and, just unfortunate events.
Yeah.
You're gonna love the St. Lawrence this year.
Oh yeah, you
Well,
will.
yeah, and luckily that place is not so heavily Lasco dependent. I mean, I feel like you can catch them there a lot of different ways. So,
Yeah.
That's a, because I never got to, I guess I still can go outside of NPFL, but I've never got to go down there and just murder the 5-pounders. Like it seems like it's so easy they do.
Yeah. I think you guys will have a great time not using scope out there. It's a great place to just do it.
Yeah.
And there is, there's some mystique, some mystery when you throw that little drop shot out there or whatever, what's going to be on the other end of the line. So I think that'll be fun. But I wanted to ask you, that's something we never really talked about on this show was like college fishing. And I was just kind of curious, like when you got into NC State, how does it work? Do you have like a coach or like how did they do it?
So it was a club sport, obviously, nowadays, like, one of the kids that bought, the first Phoenix I owned, he's at Carson Newman, and like he got a legit scholarship, and it's like it's like a
full ride academic deal.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's some schools that are doing it now, like
I know
Alabama,
Bethel, Carson Newman, Dallas Baptist, like a lot of those schools.
Okay,
and then your other big, like, well-known fishing schools.
Montevallo, a couple of them. But yeah, I mean, like when we did it, I mean, we had to have a teacher.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
how did that work? Like
we had to have
it's your sponsor.
Yeah,
like your club lead.
But I mean, he really he didn't come, like, it wasn't.
He didn't teach you how to flip and pitch and
but,
skip,
like, I mean, we
and
had
tie
like
knots.
Chad Craven on our team, and like people like Alex Freeman. We were all good fishermen, before we got there, which made it fun. I mean, because we were pretty lucrative. But I mean, it was best. I mean, traveling the country, like on the school's dime, like fishing, like tournaments.
Yeah.
Like you're like, dude, like this is
That's
why
legit.
I came to college.
I didn't even know that was a thing in college.
Yeah, this is why I had to do a victory lap, because I like to fish too much. And what happened? So
yeah,
it is what it is.
So you got to use all the school's equipment.
So no, we had a school boat, and that's a story I probably won't get into much.
Why not?
Because the said coach was able to get a boat through Ranger at cost, and it was supposed to be, he basically had like a pro deal, but for our team. But somehow
he kept it.
When it got to when we were traveling, we got to use our old raggedy pieces of shit boats, and his nice one sat in his garage.
Where's the silver lining in that, though? Like I mean, ask yourself, like, do you look back and like you got stuck with that POS boat? Like you probably learned a lot.
Oh yeah, I learned how to work on shit. That's for sure.
Why you always gotta be so positive?
Well, because
you can't just let a guy be upset.
gotta
He didn't get to fish out of that nice,
stuff.
nice new Ranger. Trey's like, yeah, but positively thinking, you got to learn how to work on a boat that was broke down all the time.
I mean,
could have spent more time fishing.
Yeah,
true.
and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was in a boat wreck in college.
Let's talk about that. What happened?
Did you go flying out of a boat in college?
Oh yeah,
Hey, I did that.
I wasn't driving.
Was it a bass cat?
Yes.
Oh, you guys are.
Well, now you guys are.
We're like bass cat blood brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something that was completely avoidable, but
You'll have that.
somebody
It happens.
that went from a 17-foot boat to a big one, just lost control. And
We're not bashing bass cat boats, by the way, people. So don't send them clips. But
You got
bass
to know how
cat
to drive
boats,
them.
if you talk to people that have run them a long time, if you know how to run them, they're the smoothest riding boats in the world.
Yeah,
But if you're not comfortable with them, and I've talked to a lot of folks that have run them and have run other boats, and they're like, I just never could figure it out. That it can be a rough ride. And if you're going from a 17-foot, not bass cat to
Triton, fiberglass boat, and I mean, I could see it coming. Like two boats had crossed in the wakes, and we hit that right there, and just
Hold on a minute.
hell
Hold
broke
on.
loose.
Let's back up. Where were you at?
The Alabama River.
Okay.
It was fishing the Bassmaster National Championship for college, and we were having our meeting on the riverboat, so it was cool. It was legit, and the ramp was, I don't know, maybe 2 miles up there. I mean, basically it was docked at the other side of the bridge, and the ramp was on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
the person driving, I think he was waiting for everybody to get out in front of him, and he was going to, that's what I kind of gathered. But
Thought he might want to showboat a little bit.
yeah, and I mean, he hit those waves and let go of the steering wheel, and we went from running 60 to nothing. And I mean, it hurt him pretty bad. I mean, obviously with the gear shifter, but the boat didn't have a hot foot. So we're in the middle of the river. Luckily, I didn't get knocked unconscious because I wasn't wearing a life jacket because we had to go 100, across the bridge. Everybody else was, running and going 45 or, so smart, But, so I'm in the middle of the river. I remember Brad Kimmery from ECU and Zane got me into their boat, and I was just so mad.
Yeah.
Like just so mad. Like, get me out of the situation because I'm not. But the boat's out there running around with nobody in it.
No kidding.
Oh, no kill
Because
switch.
No kill switch.
No, we were
Yeah,
literally
you just
going
ran.
from here to there, and somehow ended up almost dying.
Yeah.
But the boat's just out there doing hot laps, and it keeps getting closer and closer to the bank. And it finally hit. When it hit, dude, it blew fiber. Like the pressure. That's one thing I'll give Bass Cats. They built a boat because that thing hit that thing in that. It was blowing leaves off the trees.
Yeah.
But it would hit the bank and grind in the rocks, and because it's still pegged at 3/4 spot throttle, I would say, grind in the rocks, and like I had I think I broke a couple toes and a lot of fishing rods and stuff, but that I was on that boat that was going around in the middle, and Chris was the guy driving, and he was on another boat, and I actually jumped on the boat and pulled the kill switch when it would hit the rocks, it would sit there and go like this for, 40, 50 yards.
Just chewing up that prop.
Yeah. Well, it couldn't get back on plane, even though it wasn't on the thing, but I finally got on there and pulled the kill switch. And then I was like, y'all need to remove me from this situation.
Yeah.
because I'm not very
words with
happy.
somebody.
I'm about to fire somebody up. Dang.
So my crazy story is my dad and Chris's dad actually drove that 361 Ranger that we were just talking about all the way from Apex to Alabama, and we got to fish the next morning.
That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a haul,
best
dude.
parents so far. You can't do it without them.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a broke college kid. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's not
Damn.
not the boat's fault, and it's a good lesson I think for everybody to.
So it's a great lesson. I mean, I'm bad about it.
Life jacket was
Kill
definitely
switch.
Especially on my little lake, I'm bad about not
I
putting my
know.
life jacket on.
I'm bad about it too.
But like, it's like with what most car wrecks happen within 10 minutes of your house.
They do.
It's,
Yeah.
so it's.
I mean, that's why we weren't wearing a life jacket, because it was like, how could we go from here to
How
there?
can
and get
anything
hurt?
go wrong?
I think
Yeah.
we've all done it. I mean, I've gotten way better. I never
Yeah.
don't wear mine, even when I'm with Trey. He doesn't put his on. I always have mine,
Yeah.
and that was before my experience. But
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah, I mean, you just never know. Like,
No.
and a lot of times it's not even you're doing. It's
No.
you can be an idiot.
Yep.
In the lake or not
And-
paying attention.
And these tournament trails, even the regional ones around here, they don't play.
No, that's what I was going to say. Now when I
They'll
go
cut
fishing,
you.
I feel like I'm naked without my life
Yeah.
jacket, because like if you even crank your boat without it,
Yep.
kill switch and thing buckled, like they'll. I mean, you guys saw it earlier this year on NPFL.
Yeah.
Will
Harkins got
Yeah.
he had to just throw back his fish because he didn't. I mean, he had it on but didn't buckle it. That's you got to think of the liability that they
Sure.
really have on their shoulders, so you can't really fault them for for that stuff. I mean.
We-
Rules are rules too,
We had we didn't see this in person, but we heard the story from the guy that said it happened to him. He had about 25 pounds in the box, and
Fisher's a man. Yeah.
went to put his boat on the trailer and didn't have his life jacket or kill switch on.
He
and
just threw it on the
threw
back.
it on the back of the trailer, and the tournament director saw it and said, "You're
Yeah, because
done.
their rules are.
You're
Yeah.
DQ'd."
It's
that's
not.
a
A
lot of
lot of
liability.
tournaments will say idle. You don't. If you're idling, you don't have to have it. Like with the Fisher's a man. As soon as you put,
You're in
if it's
gear.
in gear, you better
Long as
have
You
it.
better
on.
have
it's
it.
on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's our rules. If it's
Yeah,
in
If
gear.
it's in gear.
Because it is kind of hard to like get
Public-
around the dock and
Yeah.
stuff without
Sure.
because you got your boat running, that kind of stuff warming it up. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean it's a rule that I think needs to be there, obviously, because of stupid stuff like
We all get complacent.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're running not even a half mile. You think this
Yeah.
ain't no big deal. We're gonna.
well,
be
and just
fine.
like we go to like Harrison Funfish or something, it's like
I really started wearing it here
Yeah.
because of the wake boats, man.
Yeah.
Especially like Harris, because that place turns into a daggum washing machine.
It
yeah,
does.
you run up that Carry Branch where all them wake.
Yep.
Hang up. You better hold.
I don't know why they go to Carry Branch.
I know
because they
Throwing
got
it
the
up.
shallow flats up there.
Yeah,
So
They make bigger wake.
yeah.
so after college,
Yeah, Carry
so you
Branch.
you got your biology degree, you said, right?
Yeah, wildlife biology.
Well, yep. And so when you graduated, did you jump right into the workforce?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I started a furniture business, and I'm a carpenter, but that's what I learned to do. Growing up, and I started a furniture business, and it just wasn't. It was boring being home like all day, and then you know what I mean. Just like I didn't leave the house.
Josh's couches.
Yeah, well, it's just like work in the garage, and I didn't really have the best
I know that,
facility at the time either. But actually, Jamie, my fishing partner, longtime best friend, he was like, "Hey, man, like this dude in my B&I groups, looking for somebody. I think you ought to go, see it." And I ended up. That's what I still do today. So we basically do general contracting work, insurance related projects,
really?
mostly, but we do a couple of remodels and stuff. But we stay busy. It's ever since COVID, I feel like everybody just spending money on their house. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you lay a lot of wood.
I'm laying the wood.
Okay. That's good. I mean, people pay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I can do, but I choose not to do. Like if it comes to like remodeling a bathroom or something like that, I'm like, look, man,
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
I
And
don't
everybody-
want to do that.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's
you
not
know,
for everybody, right?
That's just not. And there's
Yeah. Like
in a bathroom.
those don't
there's-
look like what is it, 16 or whatever, 12, what is, what,
I mean,
24 on
I
center?
wish they would
16.
turn around and show how you framed around that light fixture.
That was Trey. That was all Trey.
You're welcome.
It's good work, isn't it?
That's why he
You
does
like
not
that.
do that.
There's airflow in there for a reason,
Yeah,
in case somebody has has to pass
He
gas.
tightened it up a little bit
Yeah.
mid light on this one,
Yeah.
but
Well, this one, because the airflow goes like this.
we also wanted to make sure not to go tight to the,
Yeah.
the existing walls because we wanted to make sure the cold air.
You
very
know, if we would put up some insulation, it'd get warmer. And
It's very modular, Ben. It's very modular.
problem is the summertime would be a sauna.
What?
Yeah.
And one question I've had since you
Yeah.
built this is why do we have two studs that are 3 inches apart and the rest are like 37?
So we could
on
hang up
center?
that extension
Was that what it was
strip.
for?
Yeah. So the intent behind that was the reality is, see, the car handled real good.
I don't know what to do with my hand.
It actually worked out
But it
perfect.
kind of does work out.
It did. It worked out perfect.
No, I
He's like, okay, stop talking about my car.
dude, blue. I mean, like, listen,
You did a great job on the door frame in that.
Yeah, it's called a door.
It's square. It opens,
a
it
door.
closes. Like,
I did vertical construction, but it's a 6.5 week training thing I can throw up like some rooms for us to sleep in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not building a house.
I would sleep in here.
We're not going for.
We're not. Yeah, I'm gonna burn it down when I'm done with it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna
It
just.
does look like a bunch of deployment buildings in here.
Well,
Let's
like,
be
dude, the
real.
first,
He built it to spec.
the first.
This is Mill spec.
Yes.
Here's 12 2x4s. Good luck.
Hey, full disclosure, I'll give you a little bit of inside baseball. The first vertical construction that I ever did was 33 individual rooms inside of a clamshell where I had to take the 3/4 inch plywood and cut it so it formed around the clamshells, and then take 550 cord and run it from each end to pull tension to keep the walls up, and then frame out the rooms to put a little green cotton there. And then I built sliding doors.
Nailed it.
Right? Done. And then you know what I did? I dug a giant hole with a 10K backhoe. I dumped it all in there, poured JP8 on it, and burnt the whole thing when I was done.
Sick.
You're welcome.
Sounds like a Friday night.
Yeah.
at my house.
Yeah. So
All the scrap.
I don't
we just
have
piled
those.
up.
I don't have those skills.
You have,
Gosh.
Trey. You did a great job.
I mean, I think it looks good. It hasn't fallen down while I've been here, so
No, it's all
looks good for my
a
house.
lot of Gorilla Glue.
We're like over 2
uh,
years still standing strong. Yeah, we're good. We've had an earthquake in North Carolina. It survived.
And Hurricane Helene.
Yeah. We're
Now
good.
we got Josh in here. So yeah, man.
No.
So
Damn.
So-
half the D team's been
do
in
you need
here.
another one? Are you good?
Yeah, I'll have another one.
I know you will.
The only one that was scared to come was Cole. He didn't come to the studio. He called in.
Well, I mean, he's got.
I don't want excuses.
Excuses.
I want
He's
results.
trying to get me to buy his truck.
Do you need one?
No, I'm good still.
I'm good.
He's trying to get you to buy that Dodge.
Yeah.
And Zach called in, but he was in Oklahoma. Oh, no, he was.
I want to buy that Dodge, but it's just not the right timing
Mama said
for-
no.
Well, it's just not the right timing for me.
Yeah.
got some other investments.
Yeah, that's a nice truck. If anybody's looking, Cole Harris.
It is. Cole, check out.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's even got
Probably
sunroof.
I hope Zach's listening.
Zach Burrs, you sell that one? Did yours have sunroof?
He doesn't like sunroofs.
Oh, he doesn't?
I don't blame him. It's just another place for it to leak.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We get suntans on the lake, not in the car.
Yeah.
You may not remember the whole sunroof conversation from me.
Sure don't.
Yeah.
No.
That's for a Patreon episode.
Yeah. There we go. What were you going to ask him? You don't remember? So,
I asked him about his dad being there.
Okay.
That was the last question I had.
So you moved on from college. You joined the workforce. That's what you're currently doing right now.
Yep, I'm a weekend warrior, I guess is what you call it. But
Weekend warrior as far as a fisherman?
Well, that's what the internet calls it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just. Well, I'm just saying. I still bust my ass. Monday through Friday. Luckily, my position, I kind of have freedom on. If I hit 40 hours, I usually do that on Thursdays. At some point during the day, my boss is cool enough to, it makes my phone's going to ring whether I'm working or not. So it's, Fridays was my day. I went and pre-fished or whatever. And, that's really, I fished, 2 days a week, usually Friday and Saturday.
So when Seth came in here for the first time, as he was yelling at us, that one of the things that he explained, kind of how he got the local knowledge per se, he fished with his father-in-law before it was his father-in-law, and fished with like
Fish with a bunch of
locals. So for you being a local, and we'll get into the NPFL after this, but for you being a local, I mean, you can't go anywhere in the Piedmont region and people not know who Josh Hooks is. You just can't, right? Like, you've taken a lot of people's money, and that sucks for them.
The guy that dumps crawfish,
right?
Brush piles,
Yeah,
or dumps crawfish on brush piles, right? So we'll talk about that.
We
too.
can talk about that at some point. Yeah.
So really, when you started getting into the tournament game, and it sounds like you got in with Jamie mostly, right?
Yeah.
How'd you guys get so good on these lakes?
And I'll be honest with you, like I tell everybody, man, it's just time on the water is not replaceable. I mean, I don't care if you're lucky. You can be lucky because, I mean, I love Jamie to death, but that son of a gun is lucky.
You got the golden horseshoe?
Yes, like I've seen stuff happen that I'm just like, how in the fuck did that just happen?
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about trying to get a crankbait off a stump, muddied up.
And an 8-pounder eats it.
Literally.
Yeah.
In front of other people. And I'm like, and he's like, net. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he's like, no, for real, net. I'm like, dude, you're stuck on the bottom.
The stump came alive, Josh.
Like, and then
The mouth comes up, it's that big.
yeah, I'm
You're
just
like,
like, how did this happen? Like, I mean, I can't even, like, when I tell that story to people, I'm like, no one's going to believe me when I tell this.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense. Like,
yeah.
but I mean, when I didn't have work or, when I fished, I mean,
Yeah.
I learned, and it, like, obviously it's, good to know people. I've lived here my whole life, both sides of my family are actually from Apex. Like, my grandfather built the first baseball field in Apex. Like,
Oh, wow.
so, I mean, I've been around this area for a long time. So, I don't remember, there's certain places I remember fishing with my dad growing up, but like, a lot of times, like, we used to have like this fish used to school at Harris. Like, you put it at the ramp and you catch them all the way to the bridge.
Yep.
And just flow with the wind. Same with Jordan, like the stripers and the bass would school in the S terms, and you go there after work and we'd just catch 100 stripers and hybrids and bass. So it's like, we never really like fished, but the obvious stuff, which, to be honest with you, Jordan, most of the community holes are like the places I grew up fishing.
Yeah.
And they're community holes because there's fish on them.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, a lot of people think I have sneaky stuff everywhere, and I got a couple places here and there, but I mean, we fish community holes.
Yeah.
I mean, and
They're that for a reason.
I mean, and it's a lot of it's rotation, and you know what I mean? Like, knowing when you need to be here and knowing when you don't need to be there, and
Sure.
fishing around all the idiots and the bent pole bitters. And
there was one community hole that was a community hole, but it was like a little bit secret until MLF came here and somebody sat there with a crankbait and caught like 3,000 fish. And now,
yeah, that
now you got to get that hole first. And
that place has won me a lot of money.
yeah, me
But,
I've cashed a few checks off of that. So.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, I mean, I tell that to people all the time. I feel like I'm a good fisherman, but nothing nothing learns you more than being out there and having those days where you don't get a damn bite.
Oh, you learn a lot more that way.
Yeah, because then you go out there, and that's like, Jordan is a lake where you can go out there and not get a bite and go do the same exact shit the next day and catch 30.
I know.
Yep. And that makes no sense.
The exact same stretch.
Like,
everything.
Literally. And same with, when in practice, you can go and then, it's just about making adjustments too, obviously. I mean, I feel like on the fly, if you're able to be like, I got to stop doing this and pick up this and do something different because I'm sucking right now.
That's why I told everybody when they asked, like, oh, we got a tournament coming up. I'm going to practice Friday on Jordan. I'm like, don't ask me. I don't practice on Jordan anymore because every time I'll go out there and match him in the face.
Yeah.
And then come tournament day, 24 hours or less later, and they're nowhere to be found.
There's no reason to catch them the day before because they damn sure ain't going to.
They're not going to reload the next day.
I've been, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm really good with my electronics and, finding stuff and seeing fish and whatnot. And when I practice, I don't even cast.
I really
just go and ride.
See where they're at, how they're setting up.
Yep. And like Jordan's not a good lake to really like.
Yeah.
Because Jordan, like there could be 100 of them up there and you can't see them. I mean, they're just like
too
buried
much stuff.
And they're just like buried. I feel like they're buried
bottom
in the mud.
They get in the bottom there.
Yeah.
It's why like we've all talked about, we don't think Jordan's a great live scope lake.
No.
It's
you can live scope structure on it.
Yeah, I mean, you can target structure or brush piles, but like
fish.
A lot of times you're not seeing individual fish.
And then you got like Harrison Falls. They set up like you would think there's like a TVA lake. Like I mean, they're just like suspended at 15 feet and just loaded hundreds of them. And you're like, what?
Yep.
Then you go to Jordan, you can go look all day and you never see it.
I've never seen a school bigger than like 5 fish on Jordan.
There's a couple places where the small ones will get like two
babies,
like 2 pounds.
I know some spots in the river you'll get.
Like they'll be like 40 or 50 on them. But I mean, it's just they're not the quality. I mean, at Jordan, if you can get 6 to 8 bites on a good day, you're gonna fishing spots with structure versus like you said, catching those because those schools are dinks most of the time.
Yeah.
I have gotten to a couple like really big schools of really big ones before.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's few or far between. It's not a normal.
And it's not like
it's almost like you hit the perfect day when it just happened to be.
And it was on a community hole. Like and
happened one time to me, and it was like a DT12 or DT10 out in the middle of the lake on a hump. And there just happened to be like a 7-pounder and then a 4-pounder. Yeah. And then I rotated and came back to it, another 4-pounder. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Never happened to me again. Nope. The first time, it's the last time it's ever
Chelsea happened. And I hit a little pocket one time, and she caught off of one piece of brush like 27 pounds and 6 casts.
Oh, wow.
And I've never caught another fish in there again since then.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
It was like one of those days we rolled in there, and it's just one of those spots that looked super good. Everything was right, and they were stacked there, and she caught them.
Yep.
And it's never been.
It happened.
I go in there every time I fish it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You owe it to that.
I'm like, I've got to go hit that bush.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I can remember one year me and Jamie pulled up like I said, community hole, and we both fire the crankbait out there, and mine it hits the surface, and I'm throwing in probably 8 feet, and as soon as the crankbait hits the bottom, one locks up on it. I'm one of those people. I don't like catch fish my first cast. But it was probably like a 9.5 pounder comes up, jumps, and the crankbait comes off in the middle air, and I'm reeling it back in and make another cast, and I catch a 7.5
in the same cast.
And Jamie had a 8-pounder on, so we were beside the boat.
You had 15 pounds
trying to figure out whose was bigger to net it, and I'm like, at this point,
2 fish.
So we netted both the fish, both crankbaits in there. I had cut holes in the net. But before we left there, we had 31 pounds, and we had 34 that day, and we culled all but those 2 fish.
Did you win?
Yeah, barely, though.
Barely.
Jordan be like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting.
Trey Nichols and his dad had 32, 90 something.
You look at some of those derbies, and guys will come in with 30 plus and lose.
I've never had a bag over 20.
And I've
had a bag over 20.
That was in the middle of summer, too.
Never had a dirty 30.
That's even more
special.
Because you see some of those weights like late February, early March, where you get. I mean, they snuck up on 40 pounds. We all know who. And the next dude had 36 and lost. I'm like, if I came in with 36 pounds and I didn't win, I'm probably.
Yeah, that happened to me at Harris. We had 39 something and lost by 6 pounds.
from Shane.
Yeah. Was that the everybody knows YouTube famous bag?
You can't get those. You can't. I mean, I'm not saying you can't. But
You can't.
you most
fish
likely will
don't-
not get there anymore.
No, those fish won't. I mean, I'm not going to say they don't live in there, but the amount of them.
The amount of
It's
them
not
out
like
there.
it was when the hydrilla and all that was there. Yeah.
That school of fish that he was on,
I know exactly where it was at.
it was literally probably 100+ fish,
Yep.
and they were all
Giants.
yeah. Because in practice, I had
That's
caught one that
insane.
was like 9 something, and it had like 7 with it trying to eat the crankbait out of its mouth.
I don't even know if they school there anymore. To be honest with
I
you,
haven't seen them school out there in a while, which
Yeah.
sucks because that was so fun. We used to just run our boats around in circles. And
Yeah, that's
get
all you
off,
had to
and
do.
Then they
stir up the shad,
and then
man.
Everybody be ready.
Yep. You can still do that, by the way.
You can.
But you're not going to catch.
But see,
4
they
to
used to
6.
come up with for like 10 minutes. Now they
I
come
know.
up for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hit
100%.
them in the head when
Yeah,
they're
you
up.
got to
and
go to
they're
Lake
gone.
Murray to get the stripers to come up for 3 hours. That's what you want. But
Yeah, I had some fun with those recently.
so you and Jamie fished locally here. Last year was your, let's say, it was your first year.
Yeah, and I got to, I met Tyler through, I actually met Tyler through Jamie through Anglers Choice. I think they were,
Okay.
but
Well, one before we get where you're going, Trey. Like after you graduated, you fished state team. Did you ever quit tournament fishing, or did you just keep rolling and keep with the local stuff?
yeah, I just kept going. I mean,
Did you have aspirations to fish like on a national scale again and travel around, or?
I'm one of those people. I don't really like care for the, chasing sponsors, and that's like the least fun part to
Sure.
me about it. Like I don't like to do that stuff. I just like to fish.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and you got, and I know obviously, obviously it shows, like, cause I mean, my sponsors that I have are great, but I don't have any big names. Cause I don't know how to do that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just something I, was never not real tech savvy, I guess. I go to work, and if I get off and I have time to go fishing, I go fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
instead of
kind
making phone calls. And
yeah, I mean, it's that part of it is really, honestly, is very I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
It's just weird,
Not attractive.
awkward. I wish, I tell the guys all the time, I just wish I was like rich as hell, and I could just put like my face on the side,
Like me.
You could just milliken it.
Yeah.
Josh, is that a cougar in the boat?
It
Damn
is.
right, it's a
Wasn't
cougar
that
in the boat.
was Milligan did that his first
Yeah.
wrap. He just had
Yeah.
the line, and
Yeah.
because he didn't need same deal. He was
Yeah.
obviously in a position none of us are in financially, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to do the same thing.
I mean, it's just because it makes it stressful when you got to chase sponsors and stuff. You get up, you work with something for so long, and then it's a dead end road, or you know what I mean. It's just it's a lot of work that you put into it, and I don't miss that part of it. Is honestly why I probably didn't pursue it, quicker than I did, or sooner,
Yeah.
I should say. But I kind of saw the NPFL going, because I got invited, obviously, and then it's just one of those things that like I didn't do it, and then I regretted it, and then I was, you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, I got to do it. Like,
So did you get invited before last year?
no,
So this was the first invite.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah.
at that point, it's just like, do I like?
How do I turn this down?
Yeah, this might
Yeah.
be my only chance, like,
Sure.
to do it. And I kind of saw how people were getting sick at other leagues and
Yep.
doing stuff, and not to say one's better than the other, but I saw the writing on the wall. Like, if I don't get in this now, like 2 years, NPFL might have a feeder system where I'm going to have to go fish 9 tournaments to qualify for it. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So it's
Yeah.
like financially, it was the easiest decision to jump into it because of the fact that I could do it really,
Mhm.
Sure.
realistically. But I mean, I'm glad I did. I mean, this year was a blast. I mean, as far as meeting people and whatnot, and I mean, it's cool. Like, roll it to the weigh-in check-in line in the morning. It's like David Fritz, and we're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is David
Yeah.
Fritz.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Like, I mean, that was like one of my like dad's like favorite fishermen
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
So it's like, and like he's chilling there.
Yeah.
and he's got like 22 crankbaits tied on. And
I know.
he's kinda, like,
Because he knows he's going to lose all of them because they snag on everything.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
snag the old snag
I love Fritz sides, man.
but
Well-
yeah, I mean, it's just cool to the environment that the NPFL has. Obviously,
is.
too. It's like legit, and my buddies, my boys, my D team. guys. Like it's a time. Like we have a blast, and that's what makes it fun.
So I think a pretty staple question that a lot of anglers get asked is, obviously you grew up fishing, you grew up multi-species fishing, and then you fish bass, competitive bass tournaments in college and stuff. But as you were growing up, was there a bass angler that was like your dude?
I mean, I was always like I'm loyal to my North Carolina people, but
Hank Parker.
like I was a Hank, like and he's a South Carolina guy,
Sure,
right? But
he's still
the Jimmy Houston, the Hank Parker, like those guys. But I mean, obviously, I can remember my dad talking about the Lexington Mafia back in the day, and it was like David Fritz, Gerald Beck, and was it maybe David Wright?
I think it was right. It was, yeah.
But I just remember Dad saying, like, if you showed up to High Rock or like
the Mafia,
like those dudes were going to kill you.
Good luck.
They were going to
like figuratively, yeah.
And I mean, but obviously we all grew up in an era or two, or I mean, give or take. But KVD was like, man, like I mean, and he was so good, and he made it look so easy, And I mean, I can remember when he was like the Red River. Lay Lake when he was like bombing that trap, and I'm just like, dude, like this guy's just fishing in the middle of like nowhere.
He made every angler in Michigan look bad.
Yes, yeah,
it's because you were compared to him.
1,000%.
Yeah, you're like, this guy lives down the road and he like catches giant.
Yeah,
but he made
like
it look
there's a
easy.
reason why we're mowing your lawn while you're fishing,
and he did it in ways other people weren't doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he was just
burning spinner baits and burning crankbaits and burning a trap and jerk baits.
Working that jerk bait fast.
Yeah.
He took all that stuff he learned fishing St. Clair and the Detroit River and that stuff up north.
And he
went,
was,
I think you can catch largemouth doing this. And he went and did it, and he mashed everything.
And he was one of the first guys who mastered the electronics.
That too.
It was.
He got a lot of hate for that too. I remember, when the whole, we're not going to get into the whole live scope thing.
Humminbird back
and that was it. Like he was the first one to really master side imaging. And I remember dudes wanting to see him kicked out of bass fishing because he could only catch him because of his electronics.
Oh,
and I'm like, man, didn't this come full circle again?
That was like already later in his career. Like it's that time Simon.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been.
The Wheeler's facing the same.
Because that
there's a lot of people. Patrick, we've heard it from Patrick.
KVD was like early 90s, 90, 91, 89, something like that when he first came out.
Yeah, his real run when he was winning all the classes and everything were like early 2000s, mid. So side imaging came out
like 2005.
So it was right in that time. And he had it before the public had it because he had a relationship with Humminbird and people knew this new tech was coming. And
he was probably testing it out.
Side imaging is going to destroy our fisheries. There ain't going to be no fish left.
Well, KVD ain't sitting in this room, so
yeah.
But those are your era dudes.
Yeah, I mean,
so you had the Lexington Mafia, you had KVD.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I like how a kid you like what your dad likes. So,
yeah, for sure.
Like my dad was a Denny Brower. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean that dude was like shallow water fisherman.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Houston, like I said, I mean, obviously Larry Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
Ken Cook. I remember Dad talking about him a bunch. But, yeah, I mean, I never really have, like, I mean, that's the thing about fishing is, like, everybody fishes so much. Yeah. Like, everybody fishes different.
They used to.
Like, yeah. Except for there's minnow-pingers.
Hey, come on with it, man.
Seth, no.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to, I wouldn't say that I didn't have like a fanboy club for one of them. I just like to fish. Whoever was catching the most fish that week, that's who I liked.
So you're married, you've been married for a long time, right?
Yeah, a long time. I can't even remember since 2000.
Well, remember, because if your wife listens to us, you're going to get in trouble.
A long time.
Okay. So you've been married a long
12
time.
years this year, I think.
There you go, hon. 12 years. What was that conversation with your wife like?
I actually proposed to my wife on the bass boat at Harris Lake.
Did you really?
So it wasn't a hard conversation.
Yeah, it was easy. Caught a couple of fives and proposed.
She knew who she married. I mean,
So when he went to her about the NPFL, she wasn't shocked.
He didn't put the ring. Pissed that I didn't tell her before.
So where on Sharon Harris did you propose?
In the back of Cary Branch, right there in that little pocket past the trestle on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know what that's
one of my favorite spawning areas. Yeah.
I had my dog and her. I think I still have it on video.
I'm gonna make a video. This is where Josh X proposed to his wife.
It's there.
I'm looking at it right now.
Propose to you in that.
So conversation.
But me and my wife used to fish a lot.
I did that for the look
She's-
for Ben.
I'll never forget when Harris was really good. God bless her
Circa
that day.
2015.
She had like a legit, like it had probably like 11 and a half, I would say, because she caught a 10 and a half like 5 minutes later. And it came off, and she took a G Loomis GLX and smashed it over the motor cowling. And I was like, "Do you realize what you
Do
just
you
brought?"
know what you just did?
That was like $600 rod. And, but
Not anymore.
they were. That was when we would catch them on the swim bait, big, like the
Yep.
just the hollow bellies out there. And she would throw it, and she was competitive. Like she wanted to catch more than me. And that day, I think I caught one that was 10-3 and she caught one that was 10-6, and she lost one that was legitimate. Like I'm telling you, it was
11 plus.
It was giant. And it came off right beside the boat.
This was like 2013,
She
14.
just said, "Whack-a-pow." No, this is probably 2000. Yeah, that's probably 13. something like that.
That was
It
the day you proposed?
No.
Okay. I was like, I don't know. I might have changed my
After
timing. a
No, I
little bit.
think this might have been after the fact, because if
It's our
I'd seen her-
anniversary.
if I had seen her hit that motor with that GLX beforehand, I might
Like
have
it's
thought-
over.
You might have thought twice about it. Might have delayed things because I got to replace the $600 rod.
Yeah, I gotta
You know what? I don't get that mad when I lose a fish, but if I was to lose
Neither
like
do
an
I.
11,
and she literally, I mean, obviously, she doesn't fish all the time, so like, and I like she knew what a
11
big
pounder.
she knew what a big one was,
Yeah.
because we had caught plenty. And but yeah, dude, when that fish came off, I'll never forget, like somebody had bought that GLX at a yard sale and gave it to me, because I had all JB's rods. And,
Yeah, JB custom rod.
and so like I was partial to my JB, so I let her use the NRX, not knowing that it was $400 or $500 more than the other one. Snapped.
Oh
Yeah, then you
man,
watched it grenade off the motor.
Yeah, no, and literally whoever owns that old 361, that scratch that's on the top of the motor is
that's from my
Now
wife.
now you know why it's there. There's the story to the scratch on top of
it's
it.
got purpose behind it.
So the conversation with your wife about the league, how'd that go?
I mean, obviously it's a financial, decision, really. She's not she's a homebody, so I mean she's not one to travel around and stuff. They did get to come to Hartwell this year, and I got Paisley up on stage and stuff. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like to travel so
Yep.
much, so I mean, but she wants, she wanted me to pursue that, because she knew that I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid, kind of thing. And I had the opportunity to do it, and Lord willing, like I said, she was cool with it, which not everybody has that,
Yeah.
going for them. But she's my best friend kind of person. I can talk to her, and like when I was like, hey, like this is what's at this at stake here, and she's like, why wouldn't you do it?
Sure.
Which that when you leave the house with that kind of support, that helps out the cause a lot.
hmm
But I mean, you can't do it with a team anyways. I mean, just without a team, I mean, it's just hard. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard being away from my, I'll get home and Paisley looks like she's growing like a foot in a week. It's like,
Yeah.
time to slow down. But, can't catch them on the couch is what I always say.
Man, it's true.
Fish ain't gonna catch themselves.
Yeah. So, just,
Yeah. So you went first year, got in with a great group, had a good year. I mean, you finished 23rd in points, if I remember right.
yeah, should have been
slid into the championship. I know you.
top 15
Yeah,
if
I
I
know.
hadn't had some stupid stuff.
I know you had a couple things happen, but that's part of tournament fishing, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
What'd you learn this year? Because I mean, you fished nationally in college and larger tournaments, but it's a change going from so many years of local where you got to fish 3 days and manage all your fish and practice. So, how was that transition for you?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, and going back to like equipment stuff, like, if your boat breaks down at Jordan Lake, I'll just get pissed and go back to the house kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that when you're, in Missouri or anywhere. I mean, because you're so far away from home.
Yeah.
Being, having your equipment dialed in and stuff. Like, if you don't have that stuff, like, I don't care how good of a fisherman you are. Like, that was a dumb mistake on my part. Left my jump box in the truck, idiot. And I could see my truck from where my batteries wouldn't start right there in front of the ramp. So it's like,
That was on Murray.
yeah. And like it's just the little things you don't think about. Like, whereas like I'm at the house, I could have called somebody, or you know what I mean? But like, now you're fishing with guys, and you know, a lot of them would still, had I not waited to the very last second to go in, you know, people would still, you know, obviously help you out and tow you in, that kind of stuff. But it's just, yeah, like you said, like sharing fish, or, you know, that's the thing that if somebody's fishing a spot around here, I don't go near them because I don't like to fish. But when you put 130 people on a body of water and everybody's got the same mentality, I mean, it's, you know, you got to get used to fishing behind somebody. And
yeah, you're going to have guys that find the same fish.
Yeah. I mean, there ain't
fish the
so
same
many
way and
secrets, and, you know,
And you've only got so much time to search for them. And
yeah. And like a lot of, I like, you know, I'm not real big on like the pre-practice thing, because I'm one of those people, if I were to go down there and catch 30 pounds doing something, I would be so gung-ho on doing it that, you know what I mean? I just feel like it doesn't benefit me as much as it may others, other than maybe not tearing your lower unit off at like Santee or something. But yeah, it's a different atmosphere, obviously, you know, because everybody there is, you know, they mean business. You know, I always tell people, you know, around local stuff, I mean, you got guys that are out there that are just, you know,
Happy to be there.
You know, we're just having fun. You know, they're like, hey, I heard there was a tournament. Like, I just came to check it out. You know what I mean? Like, there, like, everybody is like, I'm here to cut your throat. You know what I mean? And because of that, I mean, growing up, you know, like I said, you got your Billy Bledsoes and stuff around here that, like, when they show up, like, in the springtime, they're gonna kick your ass. Like, you gotta learn to be better, and, you know, maybe you can kick his ass once or twice. You know what I mean? But like, those guys that are good at their games, like, they're, you know what I mean? If it's lines up in there, like, you're going to have to catch 25 to 30 pounds, because they're going to every time. And now you're in a league with, you know, guys that all could potentially do that, you know, at any given day. So it's a different, different atmosphere. I mean, it's still fishing family. Everybody, you know what I mean? Around here, we're all, you know, cutting up before the tournament. We're all boys, and you know what I mean? I mean, it's fishing though. Like, that's what I love, the competitiveness of fishing. So it doesn't really change. I wouldn't say from like, because I still want to win just as bad as I did, right? You know, around the house, and I do there, obviously. But, you know, but it takes three. Like, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, you know, you go out to Jordan, you say catch 30 pounds. The likelihood of you going out there tomorrow and catching 30 pounds is pretty slim, if you ask me, unless, you know, stars are aligned. And that's the thing about that really opened my eyes out there, is like, you got to be pretty flawless. Like, if you think you're going to win one of those, like, every bite you need to put over the boat. Like, you know what I mean? When you're getting the bites, you have to capitalize. You have to make sure you got enough gas. I mean, there's a lot of variables, but to do it 3 days, the guy that wins that tournament did that obviously the best. I mean, there's no missed fish stories and stuff like that, because
it's making right decisions, right time, right place, and then fishing clean.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my thing this year. I mean, this first year I ever fished without a net. I mean, that's like, you know, like coming from fishing team tournaments out there, and like, you got like a 5 or 6. The smallmouth, God. I wish I had like a dart gun.
Tranquilize it.
Because you go to get your hands on them, and like they're gone. And they're like tail walking. Like, the last day I lost like 2-3 pounders, and I only weighed in 4 fish. So it's just little things like that, like that you don't think about till you're in the moment, and then you're like freaking the hell out, because like, you're like, I gotta have this fish, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot. I mean, in all reality, it's I think I was telling you guys, I was out there like talking in the third person to myself, like, all right, Josh, you signed up to do this little big shot, like, how much you catch back? But I mean, it's just, you're out there, and you're like, hey, dude, like, you know, this is professional. Like, you're not catching shit right now.
Yeah.
So you might want to catch some stuff.
I'd be good not having a net, because I usually tell Trey to get away.
Yeah,
his eyes would panic as a 6-pounder comes over. No, I boat flip everything. So like, if I get them coming, they're coming. I'm not stopping to get in the net. And he'll be standing there, and I'm like, get out of the way. And then there's a 6-pounder, and Trey's like, oh.
I flipped that 5-pounder at Saginaw smallmouth, and I thought it was little because it never jumped, and I just wouldn't. midair. I'm like,
Oh no.
It didn't break my rod or the line, and it landed in the boat. But it never jumped, and it was just not fighting. I would just, when it came up, I just was like, well, I'm just going to swing it in the boat. Yep, not a good idea. Which worked out. One of the things that worked
Boat
out.
flipping.
People will be surprised. You can swing that smallmouth in.
Yeah.
You can swing some big fish in.
Oh
yeah, I've boat
like you
flipped
said, if
6 pounders.
they're coming to you, it's easy. But,
especially if you're catching them on like a buzz bait or something like that. Like you can.
oh yeah, if you got
I flipped 7 pounders in the boat before, right? You got to have the right rod for that and the right line. But
yeah, and you've got to look like if it's skin hooked, I'm not going to.
If it's skin
right?
hooked,
Like,
or
but if it's buried and I can't see the bait, they're probably coming over the rail at a high rate,
creating
speed.
a lot of drag because the whole mouth is open. Like you might want to just grab that one, But
well, the smallmouth you can't. Their mouths are
they're tiny.
They're like that. And you're
tough.
like. They're just and they're like, oh crap.
You gotta get go with the scoop, baby.
Yeah,
Scoop it up.
I finally figured that out.
Lake Gaston is a great place to go practice that skill.
What the spots?
Yeah,
they
it
do
is because they do a lot of the
similar
same stuff. Yeah, so
just not quite as on crack.
Yeah, dude, those fish are
the Great Lakes smallmouth.
Yeah,
like,
something different.
Nobody understands unless they've caught them how different they are.
And it'll be like jet calm out there, like not a ripple on the water, and then like all of a sudden it's blowing like 25.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh shit! Like,
but there's a lot of flies out there when it's not blowing. Did you get bit by the flies?
No, I don't know. Maybe we went there. I know there was.
You were probably there the right time of year.
Yeah.
Also, Saginaw.
Not as bad as like the Great Lakes, though. Not as bad as like.
It was when we went there. That's when we had that like tornado come through. And
they were there. Everything was a little bit.
I think
weird.
that tornado might have taken all the bugs out.
It was a little weird when they were there. They had tornadoes.
It was rowdy.
So I wanted to ask you this. I don't know if you guys asked when I was using the bathroom, but the very first tournament you fished, did you ask this? Was he extremely nervous? Were you extremely nervous?
No, I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was nervous. I mean, obviously, you're putting in a young kid into a different environment kind of thing. I mean? It's just, you don't know what to expect. But I mean, like I was saying earlier, like the NPFL is like a fan. Like, dude,
is.
Dudes were like back.
It's like fishing the Fishers of Men or something, dude.
Yeah, it's like just super low. Like obviously, there's a lot of money on the line, but it felt like it was like a
club,
like a Tuesday night, like jackpot. I mean, just hey, show up. We're gonna back your boat in. We're gonna put your keys in your gas cap.
Yeah,
like have fun.
Oh, by the way, you're fishing for $100,000.
Yeah. I mean, which is, I mean, it's awesome, and obviously, as the years progress, I think they're gonna get, it's gonna get bigger and bigger.
Oh, 100% agree.
Because people are jumping on board, and like I said, that's kind of why I did what I did when I did it, because I thought if I had waited too much longer, then getting in at that point would be a little bit more challenging. But it is. I mean, I've always wanted to say I fished against those guys, and now I can say I've done it. And this year we'll see how we pan out, because now we got there's some straight hammers coming over.
Yeah. So, I'll be coming next year, so you guys watch out, dude.
I'm probably going to retire before you.
You better knock it off. I want to show up with a 17-foot aluminum boat and just take it over, dude. I'm just kidding.
I mean, but I want. Yeah.
Go ahead. No.
You have more NPFL questions?
I wanted to ask about how long it took to really start trusting the household that you were a part of. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that was, evident. So Zach wasn't able to fish the first tournament. So just me and Cole and Seth. And, I mean, we had a meeting at my house before all this even happened.
And you already knew both of them from fishing against them.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know like Cole as much as I knew Seth, just because Cole had only lived here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And like me and Seth talk all the time. Like me and him are like best friends now.
You talk all the time, or does he yell all the time?
That's funny, because Cole's first word out of his mouth every time we go somewhere, Seth will say something like, "Why are you yelling at me?"
Yeah, it's super easy to get Seth wound up. I did it at the Raleigh show the entire weekend.
Yeah,
but I mean, like I could tell right off the bat, like I mean, we're all out there. You can't do it without a team.
I agree.
I mean, you really can't. And then and if you look at like the the other guy, like the
Elite Series,
BPTs, you got Walters
yeah.
and Cook and all those guys. Like those guys they're all helping each other. I mean, you ain't got to give them your juice. You know what I mean?
Right, but
like,
you can help.
Say, hey, like they're biting chatterbaits, on the side of the dock, or they're biting a swim jig doing this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Biting a crankbait doing this. but I mean, in all reality, like I'll be honest with you, we even like share spots. Like, I mean,
Sure.
there's even places I'm like, dude, I can't get there. Like, go get them.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, maybe I can get there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like they've, and at that point, like, that's when you can like trust these guys and everybody. Like, I'm known for offshore fishing. Steph's known for fishing the bank. Same with Cole, and Zach can. I mean, that dude's a hammer.
He just does
that dude will
Yeah,
just catch
does
him
everything.
anywhere,
But I grew up around here. I can catch them on the bank. It's just if I can find a way not to catch
If you
them.
can find a brush pile, you're getting after
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Maybe it's just, but like, so everybody kind of brings something to the table
Sure.
there. So, one tournament I might not be as much help, but the next one I might, like, I know at Hartwell, I was like, you guys got to be doing this. And
Gotta hit kinky
that's
piles,
when I was
dude.
there, like, and I was over there like feeble with my back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Crawling around. I'm like, dude, you guys like go. This is what they're biting. I figured it out, but I ain't gonna be able to run far from the ramp, kind of thing. But it's just where you can help out. Obviously, I mean, we're like brothers now. Like,
And it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, I mean, we have obviously you guys. Can
Oh
help
yeah,
out. Like,
you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah,
Like capital FUN.
yeah, fun.
Fun. Like multiple U's in there. Yeah. Ridiculous.
I mean, those are.
But the cool thing is too, is you get to see the guys at the highest of the highs and sometimes the lowest of the lows.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And you, I think outside of Murray, cashed a check in every event.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's
what
ridiculous.
Bring that back up.
yeah, and what a.
Well, I
definitely-
mean, we
No,
can
I'm just
talk
kidding.
about that.
We
But
did,
I mean,
right?
Josh Hook's very consistent. First year in the NPFL,
Yeah.
hard to do, but not really when you got the skills you got, right? So, but not everybody in the household was like that.
No.
So,
I mean,
how was that for you? Seeing some of the guys like, man, I'm eating shit right now.
yeah, and
it
like,
sucks.
That's. I mean, obviously, we're like I said, brothers. I mean, at this point, so
Yep.
you see somebody down, it's like, hey, dude, you can still like do it, like,
Yep.
because. Well, I mean, just for say, like at Murray, like when I was late and lost all that 7 pounds or whatever.
I feel like their clock was off, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't even know what time it was. I was so pissed. I don't really have. An
I'm just
idea.
kidding, Brad and
Well-
Paul. I'm just messing around.
But like those guys are like, dude, like just go catch 20 tomorrow, and like you're good.
You're like,
And I'm like,
"Oh."
yeah, I'm like in my head, I'm like, yeah, it sounds great, but like it's those comments that get you going, that keep you up.
Uplifting.
And like, you know what I mean? Like Seth had some tough tournaments that he's like, dude, I'm doing the same exact thing you're doing.
Yep.
Why am I not getting bit? I'm like, I don't know if it's the area. Like I'm fishing right here. Like you're welcome to, come, or you know what I mean? It's just
Yep.
like the smallmouth thing, like Seth and at Saginaw Day, Seth and them, I think,
They were like, we're
They
going
were large,
largemouth
yeah.
fishing.
yeah. And the thing is like that, like obviously was a bad decision. I mean,
Yeah.
but
told
it was
them.
rough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rough getting there and it was bad on your equipment, but like, and then they went and, did some smallmouth fishing and ended up it being, even,
worse.
yeah, worse because they drove all that way. And then, but what I'm getting at though, is just like, if that had worked out, it would have been great, and it all, you can draw it up on paper all you want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't always pan out that way. And
Yeah.
and it's crazy how line size and little things like that we're talking about. I'm like, dude, I'm throwing this on 10. They're like, no wonder I can't get bit.
I'm throwing on 12.
Yeah. And then they changed the 10-pound line and then they're
Yep.
just like night and day. But it's like, that goes back to the, fish with a, brain the size of a green pea. And it's like, how can they see?
And then sometimes it's just confidence momentum.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right.
and sometimes it's just, let's face it, if it's your time to do well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've all had, different points.
Stars
and-
got on
and,
the line,
you know,
man.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
talking to all of you guys, from Seth to Zach to Cole to you to all the anglers that, we learn so much.
Oh yeah. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
So much. And I never thought line mattered as much as I saw it matter.
I like to fish places where it doesn't.
Yeah.
I
Like
like to go to Jordan and put 20 pound on.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I throw on
break
Jordan.
their limbs when I said the hook.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's not every lake you go
Yeah.
to. Like go to Hartwell.
I
And
like to break Bass's opposable thumbs.
But you go to like Hartwell and like they can like you throw your bait out there and in 40
Yeah.
feet they're 40 feet away and they're
Ridiculous.
like, and I'm like, that's insane.
Yep.
But
I think I'm just going to start using super light line.
Yeah,
all the
like
time
4 pound test
and just
all time.
get good at using
Bed fishing, 4 pound test, half ounce weight.
I know how that works out.
Yeah.
Maybe braid.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I think that's an important, we've had numerous guys on here that roll together as teams. John Cruz, I think, was the very first guy that came on here and talked about how important it was to be with a group of people that you can trust, but you got to groom them into that trust. But then you really rely on each other to help you with your spirits through the ups and the downs and stuff like that.
And like you said, it's not even just the, hey, pick me ups, but it's like when you can trust some dude to like, hey, like, dude, this is where I'm catching them. Like, look at this right here.
For sure.
And you can go and find this. And even if you need to hit this, I'm not like, well, I'm one of those people. I'm like, dude, I mean, if I ain't there, roll up. I don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but like, I wouldn't go tell that to any Joe Schmo out there. It's like, you guys all are, you're spending the money together.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's like a brotherhood. I mean,
for sure.
Granted, like, we have, like you said, we have like a legit good time. Like, and I mean, like, we're basically all like boys. Like, I mean,
yep. It's a fraternity.
Yeah. I mean, and it's
in that house.
Yeah. I mean, it's legit. Like, we're out there, like you said, we're out there to cut it. I want to win every tournament, but if one of those boys were to win, I'd probably cry for him, dude. Like,
damn straight. And they're going to pay the Airbnb bill for the next 3 months. I mean, there is like, that is,
they're going to up their chef.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
No, it's definitely cool to see the dynamic. Everyone is so different, but fishing really, at least competitive fishing. I think fishing in general, but competitive fishing at the level that you guys do, and even that all of us do, like, it just brings everybody together.
It's a brotherhood. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It really is, man. Like,
and like I said, it's just such a small world. Like, even, you don't really realize, like, you meet people randomly, like I said, out of state somewhere. They're like, hey, dude, like, I know so-and-so. Like, at Murray, there was a guy that fished with Bryce McClinney here around the house. And I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. And he came up to me and like, hey, dude, and I live on Murray. I wish I would have known. Like, you guys could have just
Was he wearing a Bass Cat hat?
I don't think
so. An older guy?
Not talking about the place you're staying at?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like, you know what I mean? It's just like small world.
Dude, even stuff like that, right? Like the people we meet in Airbnbs.
Yeah.
The great people that are like, hey, you're a bass fisherman? Like, we're going to hook you up.
Yeah.
Right. And we want you to get to and from the launch better than anybody else, because we know it's a 55,000 minute drive around the lake, right? Like, whatever, like that kind of stuff is really cool.
I mean, yeah, you get this definitely in there. When I remember we went to Logan Martin and like we returned on this road, dude, and I was like, we're about to get shot. And we get to this house and it's in the middle of, we're about to get shot land. And it's the nicest house in the world. And I'm like, I mean, it's just like an old farmhouse, like huge. The guy had like a sawmill and all kinds of stuff. But I'm just like, it's like you find these like little like, and like it's 20 minutes from the lake. Like no one will ever know about it. So like we have a place for life if we ever go.
Really?
Like for Logan Martin. Because
with a sawmill.
Like, oh, I mean, the guy.
Seth's right at home.
Do a little work.
Yeah. Yeah. And Seth actually found that place. So maybe he was
Did
looking
he?
at it because it had a
He might have.
He is a feminine lumberjack. Dude, that's so funny. What do you think the biggest lesson learned, if you were to like rewind the season on the NPFL, what is the biggest thing that you learned that you were like, I had no idea about this?
I mean, obviously, like we were talking about with my goal was to make the championship and cash a check.
You did that.
And I all but did it because of mechanical stuff that was preventable.
Mm.
And I think that right there was the biggest like eye opening, because no matter how much fun you have and how good the fish are biting, if your equipment ain't working or you can get back to the ramp, it makes no shits.
Yeah.
I mean,
so did you make any changes for the 2025 season?
I mean, all I needed was a jump box that was, what I mean? Like it wasn't like
in your truck.
Yeah, that was in my truck that I could see, that's how close I was. But it's you have to, and that's another thing going back to like, you got to put 3 days of, stuff together. It's not only like not losing fish, it's making sure your batteries are charged, your little odds and ends not having, because even if I had a set of jumper cables in the boat, like something simple that could have been prevented. So you get what I'm saying. It's just,
for sure.
It's just, it's not just the fishing, I guess, is what I'm getting at. It's the it's the package. Like you got to make sure these ducks are in a row and those ducks are in a row and everybody's ducks are in a row because it's not just the fishing. I mean, and granted, the fishing, you got to have fish to weigh in, obviously, to climb the leaderboard. But if you can't get there or something's not working or whatever, I mean, it's eye opening, really. I mean,
I mean, those are lessons you only learn through them happening, though.
I mean,
there's a reason I carry a jump box and a set of jumper cables in my boat every time I go on the water.
And I'll probably I'll have one in every box.
Yeah, it's because I learned that lesson the hard way. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things you have it, and it's like, I'm not going to need this. I charged my batteries last night, so you leave it in the truck, and then next thing you know.
One time I didn't have a jumper cable or a
jump box,
so I had to go dig out my rusty wrench, and I just I'm moving one of my trolling motor batteries over.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I was trying to do, but I broke the pair of pliers because I just had like fishing pliers, and that's another thing.
Oh, you didn't have a wrench.
You gotta have a little tool.
You learned a little toolkit.
Yeah. So it's like little things like that I had, and had it all intention of having with me, but it's like you move your life jacket out, or and then you put it to the side, and then next thing you know. But that's a lesson that I would say is like learning. I mean, because it hurt. I mean, that was like my goal, and it was my fault.
It's okay though.
But I mean, it's fine. I learned, that it was a lesson that could have been a way worse lesson.
Definitely changed your attitude. I watch it happen.
Yeah,
like your whole nonverbals were different, and you're like, I'm looking like I want to drop 34 pounds on everybody in the Piedmont region right now, and like take all your money because I'm pissed.
Yeah, so don't fish any Josh tournaments for.
Actually, Josh
he's coming back.
Josh is actually banned from fishing any tournaments around here.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
Well, yeah, that's where I was heading. So we talked about 23rd. I want to go there. So we're gonna like, it's a good way to end because we'll bring it back positive. But 23rd NPFL for points, made the championship, almost cashed in every event. One short. There's all the rumors. And I'm going to preface this by saying, when people were making stuff up about you, that you're doing things the right, you're kicking their teeth in consistently, because they aren't saying that stuff about Trey and I or people that go out there and have a couple decent tournaments. Like, y'all were whooping, right?
Do they say it about us? Because if they
might.
I'll squash that
I think I know where you're going.
So here,
I told you guys because I don't remember who told me.
Yeah, I'd heard it before you, but there was always allegations around Josh and Jamie. Different things you hear. The last one was they were baiting brush piles with crawfish on Jordan Lake, which you hear all this. Obviously, all it takes is one of your buddies here, and they call and like, hey, you hear what they said about you this week? I know for a fact because I know some people who had questions. You shut a lot of people up. Like, you went out and proved, not that you hadn't already with what you did in college, before that locally, but you went out and did it in a solo tournament. Granted, everybody has help because you have, guys you travel with. Was there any extra motivation to prove just because did that background noise come into your head at all where you wanted to prove I can catch them anywhere? It's not. Just shut people up, dude.
For sure. And like I said, too, when you're not catching them, that's when that third person mentality comes out. You're like, all right, buddy, get your shit together. But yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. Like, I feel like, I'll never forget when that whole story came out. I was literally like on a roof pressure washing with my buddy owned a pressure washing business. And he was like, somebody said that. And I just remember being so mad because I had worked so hard to be and put the time in.
Yep.
And all it took was somebody's little stupid ass comment to, put that in jeopardy when, I don't even like, that's the most erratic. Like,
when did this happen?
Like, I don't even remember.
2 years ago, I think.
No, it was like
longer than
10 years ago.
It was long. This rumor's been carrying around.
So I heard it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been up and down.
But that's because somebody wins at a tournament, and then somebody says something, and that shit gains inertia.
Oh yeah,
and it goes for
it's like
years.
that telephone game. But Josh is throwing.
And look, those are like serious allegations.
They're serious allegations.
Even if it's been going on 10 years, everyone had cell phones. It's like, I saw it. Well, take out your freaking phone and take a picture.
So what was said about you?
I mean, I don't even really know because I never heard it from the cat's mouth.
Right.
But
nobody has. Well, one person did.
Yeah. Well, yes. And, and those people, most of them have apologized that they, were slandering me, but more or less they were saying that we were buying crawfish, which I'm guessing there's a place around here you can buy them, and taking them and dumping them out on all the spots. And that's why we caught them. But like I told you guys earlier, we fish community holes. So why the hell would we put crawfish
on community holes?
And why the hell would we spend the money to put crawfish out when you can go out there and catch them without doing the shit?
Let me.
It's not going to be super cheap to buy.
There isn't anywhere locally. You pretty much have to get floated.
There's one place, but you have to drive out the way.
Oh, okay.
So I'll. So 2023 was the first time I ever fished against you. It was in the PBC. It was in a February tournament, right? And I think you and Jamie went out there. There was the 2 one-day tournaments, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Is that the one on Jordan?
Yeah, it was on Jordan.
Was this
right?
before Doug had it?
No, it was Doug had it, 2023.
You were
right?
fishing with Charles, yeah?
I was fishing with Charles. I lost my custom rod that day.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
I dropped like 20 pounds of 4 fish that day. I know exactly where you and Jamie are fishing. You guys didn't catch crap that day.
Yep.
Right? So the guy that lives on Jordan Lake that everybody accused or that people have accused of doing whatever, fishing a very well-known community hole. I'm not going to tell anybody where it's at and doesn't walk away with a fish. Now you tell me the math. Give me the math, right? The math doesn't add up, right? You know what I'm saying? So like these people out there, when you consistently whoop their ass, right? And I've done some winning.
I get my ass whooped a lot too.
You get whooped when you lose more.
We are surrounded by dudes that are absolute
hammers.
Oh, yeah,
at every local
hammer.
event you go to, you're fishing against guys that fish the league. You're fishing against guys that have fished the elites. You're fishing against guys that have qualified multiple times for the FLW tour back in the day.
Yep.
Guys that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars locally.
Yep.
Like there's
you fish around here. It's like, a lot of people say it like, there's like 19 guys from North Carolina in the NPFL.
Dude.
It's be like you show up around here, you're going to get your teeth kicked in.
And if you can figure it out here,
yeah, you can make it.
You're doing a good job because this is a hard place to be.
It is.
Right.
I mean, you got the Todd Masseys, the Billy Bledsoes, you got the, Doug Stallings, Seth's father-in-law. I mean, now that there's some younger guys catching.
Yeah.
It's just like these guys, Brandon Gray, Tyler Trent, like all them guys, like
Tyler Trent,
dude. I've
beat him on bugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that dude's an animal, man. I mean, and luckily,
and
for me, I was
Corbishley on falls.
Yeah, him and Bryson smash them and
regularly.
Yeah, I mean, and like it's the thing is like you're not like I used to say it all the time when you show up like at some tournaments. You just say you went to, Harris, like everybody there can potentially smoke your ass. Like, cause like everybody there is good. You don't go to a tournament and there's like 50 chance that you're going to win. Like you're going to, all the stars are going to have to align just like it in the NPFL, like 3 days worth of stuff.
That's right.
You got to catch them like you have never fished
and you
there
better catch
and you're
them.
Never coming back. Like you need to catch everything.
And that's what makes me the most nervous any tournament here when I'm doing well, because I'm like, man, if I have 20, what does Josh have? Because I'm whacking them.
I fished what was it? What's Harris? Is it the Wednesday night?
Yeah, Wednesday night.
I fished with Doug in his boat one night, and you were out there. I think you dropped like 22 pounds. This was after the slot was over, and I saw where you're fishing. I'm not telling Doug. I can't tell Doug. And he doesn't scope either, right? And I was like, I know exactly what he is going to. If they're there and they're biting that certain couple baits that I know they like, I'm like, he's going to have 20 plus. And sure enough, dude, you came in. But I think, Pete, you asking that question about the rumor bullshit, right? And it is bullshit.
Total bullshit.
And we don't know any better, right? We get caught up in it too because we're like, oh, that guy's a cheater. Before we didn't even know you, right?
I mean, I asked for evidence. I think we both asked for evidence.
I mean,
you got to show me the money, show me the proof, right? And then, for everybody out there that's listening and watching, like Josh has fished the Piedmont region, taking a lot of your money, taking
a lot of money.
I think he's taken my money.
He's taken
one time,
multiple times.
which I appreciate that.
Yeah, don't bother
And
me.
then he fishes.
There's worse people I can
We're
donate
still
to.
He fishes a full season on the NPFL, and he cashes a check 5 out of the 6 times. So I'm pretty confident that he didn't go bait all the brush piles with the crawdads on every single lake.
I wish I had all the time that these people think I got.
Right?
So, hey, people, get over it. Some people can just fish.
It's pure jealousy.
They just figure
It
it,
is.
out.
It's jealousy.
I mean, look at that in the NFL right now.
Right.
The Chiefs.
Right.
It's all because of the refs.
We've got an
Yes.
episode that's coming in a couple weeks where we're going to talk.
And-
We're going to talk a lot about this jealousy thing because we've got a guy that has some really good insight into his thoughts, and I think it's going to help people. So
The last thing I'm going to say on this is, guys like you and Seth and Cole, us,
you people.
we when you're good to each other, we share information with each other to help make us better.
Absolutely.
That is the one
goal
thing
is.
that I've noticed. Like I didn't meet Seth until the first tournament this year or this past year, right?
Our first tournament.
Our first
the
tournament,
Fisher's
right?
Men, yeah.
Fisher's Men. I never met him before. Man, we had a great conversation,
Yeah.
right? And I think it,
Was he yelling?
He yelled at me.
he yelled. He's very tall too, and so
He yelled at me at Raleigh show. That's
Yeah.
when I met him the first
But
time.
I think the point is if you're going to sit there and accuse people of things, then just expect to never have a favor or any reciprocal like information be given your way.
Yeah.
Right. When you're sitting here and be like, hey, dude, talk to me a little bit. Like, let's whatever. I can tell you, we will all work together to take your money.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's where people tend to isolate themselves. And so, dude, I just want to say, like, meeting you guys this year, meeting the D team, getting to know all of you, like, and seeing you guys take everyone else's money. That was awesome. And I can't wait for next year.
Last
this
thing
year, really.
I want to say, and you're going to hear this again in a couple weeks, is the general public sucks at fishing, right? Like they don't have, and I don't mean they suck. They don't have the time. They don't have stuff figured out like a lot of folks do. So they go to websites, internet boards like BBC, whatever it is, to try to get information because they want to be successful, right? Why you got to be a child, man? Why you gonna be a child? But they go to these places, right? And they're trying to get information because they want to go out and be successful in the water. And I think the mentality that's different here, and when you meet Seth, you meet, anybody on the D team,
Yep.
Cole, you meet any of these guys in the
Any of the
NPFL,
guys.
really, like most of the guys, they want everybody to be successful. Like I want everybody to go out and catch fish.
Heck yeah.
I know there's certain things that I don't give out on the podcast, and that's because there's certain things that I don't give out on the, like there's things that I need to keep close,
Sure.
but I'll tell you 10 other ways to go try to catch fish and you
That's right.
could be successful. Right. And it's jealousy. Like
Yeah.
people get jealous because they can't go out and do that. So they start clearly, if they can't go do it, then the person that is doing it is cheating. They're doing something that's not right. So just don't get caught up in that. And if you have people coming to you with rumors about other people, ask for proof because those are serious allegations.
Well, the same person that started that rumor also, like in the springtime, like beat my ass like bad out there. Had like 20 something pounds, and I had, like you said, a day where I had 0. I mean, or one bite all day. So it's like,
Yeah.
I wasn't out there saying the same thing about, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I
But-
just wondered if there was a little extra motivation.
Oh,
'cause
for
some of
sure.
that
I mean-
stuff, like I said, some of that stuff resurfaced right before you went out because we heard about it from people that
Oh,
were already
sure.
in the league. Like, hey, you know anything about this? And we were like, rumors, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I highly doubt this person's out there doing it.
People need to be very careful about what they say too,
Yeah.
because
It's a small community.
Josh talked about it earlier in the show. Like, he's not one to go out and hunt for sponsors and do all this tech stuff and things like that. A lot of these guys that have non-endemic sponsors, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but your word means something
Yeah,
to
Sure.
your reputation and the way that
even
you
endemic sponsors.
Yeah, and endemics, and the way you carry yourself and your reputation, like those things matter. And so if you're that person, right, that's out there trying to tarnish everybody because they're catching them and you're not, like, I feel bad for you, and I hope you don't do that, because
Do better.
these guys' livelihoods ride on that,
yeah,
right?
for sure. I mean,
So it's an important rule, and I would say something very differently if I was on a different podcast, but
Yeah.
we're on this podcast,
Yeah,
right?
It might be
We're
on
gonna
our
keep it,
Patreon podcast.
Yeah, do it on the
We're
Patreon
gonna
account.
keep it G-rated.
Keep it
But
G.
what event are you most looking forward
That's
to
what I
this
was
year?
about. That was my
I know I
question.
stole your
Yeah.
thunder.
I mean, we talked about St. Lawrence just because I like smallmouth, but I would say probably that one.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
fair.
mean,
You're not looking
Not-
forward to Norman?
I hate Norman.
Me too.
I really hate that place. I've always done well there.
I like it, but I
because
hate it.
I'm just not a big dock guy.
Yeah, same.
Like I
Same.
Missouri at Ozarks, I literally went and fished like the part of the lake that was a
I
state
didn't
park
know
that.
because I hate it.
you still
I mean,
cashed a check.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because I just hate it. Like I don't like being. I don't know.
Docks are unnatural.
That's the
Yeah.
one I picked too. Was St. Lawrence. When
Seth
Paul
loves
asked us.
docks.
Yeah.
Seth
Oh
does.
yeah. Well, and he's nasty.
He loves structure, and if the dock is the structure,
See,
then
I'm a
that's-
structure fisherman, but I like catch my fish like
They're also closer to the bank. Seth gets scared if he's more than like 30 feet off the bank.
Yeah.
He starts to get
Sure.
nervous.
I mean,
he
honestly,
might not be able to swim. I don't know.
Honestly, they're all gonna. I mean, I feel
Abominals don't float.
Santee is either gonna be really good or it's gonna be really
Yeah.
bad.
I think it's gonna be really good.
Depends
Yeah,
on
they're
weather.
good. Yeah, and then I mean, like Norman can go either way.
Yeah.
Douglas. I mean, Norman's gonna be good because I'm sure they're gonna be on the bed.
Yeah, they
Uh,
probably would.
Yeah, and
But I don't like to bed fish. I can't see as it is. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't,
Douglas will be good.
They won't all be on the bed, though, so you'll
No.
be fine.
No, we'll be good.
Douglas will be a good one.
Yeah, Douglas will be fun.
I don't know anything about Douglas.
Eufaula should.
It's the one you
be
drive over on the way
pretty-
to Knoxville.
I do know about Douglas.
That's all he knows about Douglas.
But Logan Martin at the end of the year in September with no live scope.
That's gonna be a tough.
That's going
It's
to
be a grinder.
a bad one. think.
I hate that
think so?
cliche term. It's gonna be a grind.
You don't think they're going to be in a way that you can catch them by the minis?
Is it early September or
It's like, but I mean, that place gets pounded.
Yeah, it gets hammered, and you're not gonna be able to.
yeah?
yeah, it's gonna be
Like,
tough.
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of. I mean, you probably can get on like a school invite maybe somewhere. And I've
Yeah, but
heard
you know
there's
what?
the
crafts-
problem is the way those schools move around. Like you're not gonna be able to
fish-
keep up
you
with
fish
them.
the
we gotta be
Piedmont
careful,
region,
too.
Yeah,
and you know how to fish for fish.
yeah,
They get absolutely like hammered all year.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's. I'm just saying the time of the year there. I think just throws.
I-
The way those
I
lakes set
think-
up,
Rent.
like
I
we're
think
not
that's
talking
gonna be
specifically
one of your
about
better
Logan.
events.
yeah.
We're not talking specifically about Logan Martin, but that chain of lakes that time of year can be.
Yeah, just hard.
It can be
This is
difficult.
like at Jordan. You go from 30-pound bags to you get into September and like 19,
Sceners,
17.
Sceners are good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I mean,
it's
shoot, we cashed a check with what 17 pounds there, and
yeah,
Jesse Wise, I think, won with 22 pounds, and Corbershley was like, "F this," and he was out, dude. Like-
yeah. I mean,
we'd have been right there if I that would.
oh,
that
he
would've
he
been
foul hooked like a 6-pounder,
yeah,
but we tossed her back, obviously.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
that time of year. It's just
Yeah.
no, unless you're at the up north
Yeah.
somewhere. I feel like it's tough everywhere.
Yeah.
It is.
I love fishing around here in September, though.
Yeah, I mean the numbers are out.
Numbers are biggins.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I hate
that's
it.
that's a different story.
but they're just and it's hard to keep them alive.
I hate it because there's so much dang bait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's so much bait that it's hard
I
to.
love
We,
it.
I thought we were going to get a shad kill at Jordan, which I know a little bit of it died.
got a little. There's a little one. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't think
I
we
don't.
got
What happened
any.
on Harris?
It was,
Anything?
it was
You
a
didn't think-
couple of degrees away.
There was
from
ISO
it
on some of the
being-
lake when I was driving up.
I don't think
Raleigh.
Harris got a kill this year, though.
No, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's so bad." I'm like, "No,
It's
if
not.
you don't get a shad kill,
You need a
We get.
you need
I
a
don't.
good kill.
I don't think people understand the amount of shad that we get in these lakes.
Dude, and when-
Unless they've
the year
seen
after a shad kill, you tell me that the fishing isn't better.
Harris was great.
Oh,
They had that
for
one
sure,
2 years
dude.
ago. We mashed them.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago or like 4 years ago?
It was 4 years ago
It was
because
4
that
years
long?
Yes,
because the
4 years.
PBC because I had a club tournament out there. That's when I caught my PB in practice. Didn't catch a single.
You
fish in
guys
the tournament.
fished it. You and Jamie fished
and
it. didn't you?
that's the one. The PBC.
You had like 2 fish or
Only-
1 fish.
That was all that was caught too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the year that we got second place with a 2-pounder, and
Yep,
Big
he
Jerry
won.
won
Yeah.
one fish.
And I had
Oh.
one bite that day.
We caught
And I
6
missed it.
fish that day.
But there were slots.
And 5 of them were slots.
Yeah.
I had one bite that day on a jig, and I missed the bite. And I was like, "When did I catch a check?" It would have been one fish.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
we
a
won
slot,
like
but-
3 because we didn't.
You won like
Jerry-
$3,000, didn't you?
Yeah, because Jerry didn't get in the TWT.
So they won TWT.
So we won more money than him. But I mean, I
Hey.
literally when I went out there and practiced for a couple of days, I was like, I seriously don't think I can catch a fish.
I didn't think I could because I practiced
You know-
pretty good
you know,
before that
To
one.
be honest, I think that's the same year that it was so good early. Like
It was the same
June.
year last year. MLF was here too.
And that was like the
Yeah.
schooling fish and the ledge
Yeah.
fishing was still so great. So
Yeah.
the moral of the story is right after a shad spawn's shad kill's not good, but the rest of the year.
well, we
The
were
rest
we
of
were
the
there.
year.
The shad were still floating.
In fact,
Yeah.
I remember running my boat through waves or just the
you
whole
can see
water.
the
So it was
dead
pushing
shad
through,
everywhere.
and I caught a bass on a black and blue OneCast fishing jig in like 18 foot of water on the old dam when you come out
Yeah.
of Cross Point, right? I think that's what it is, a dam or a bridge or whatever.
The trestle.
The trestle, right? There's a couple trestles there. And I caught it in January right there after that big shad kill, dude. And it was dope. It was like a 4 pound.
I didn't
fish.
catch anything.
Yeah. So
And
I
that,
said,
That was the most miserable
The only
tournament
fish
I've
I
ever
caught
fished in
all
my
day,
life.
dude.
my buddy Hunter, that you met, you
Yeah.
guys met.
yeah.
He
The
lives down-
intern.
he lives down the road, and he called me earlier. He's like, "You want to fish Jordan this weekend?" I was like,
No.
"No, I'm sorry,
no,
man.
it's
Like,
fishing like crap right
well,
now.
and like I'm just not a riprap guy. Like,
No, me
I mean,
neither.
I'll go fish riprap at another lake, but it just
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, you have to get in line at Jordan to
well,
go.
Yeah.
and like, and you still, I don't care how much stuff you know about that place, you still are going to get your ass handed to you by that riprap.
Yeah.
every
Yep.
time.
I don't.
Well,
I'm
they've
not
seen
good on-
7,000 baits
not
that
good
day.
on
Hell, I lost to the riprap the last PBC championship I fixed. We had like 27 pounds. Some dude caught 28 off the corner, 64 on a spinnerbait.
I know.
That was 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21. That was when
Crazy.
BPT was here.
So
last, yeah.
we're getting close to the end here. You said that you're looking forward to obviously the smallmouth ring for 2025.
And that's honestly because I don't get to do it all.
100%, 100%.
I
Yeah.
just enjoy it.
And they're fun to catch.
Yes.
For those who support you the most, who are some of your biggest supporters? And shout them out so everyone can hear.
There's actually my main sponsor is Toby Loss. He's a big swim bait fisherman around here. Really good dude. Does roofing. He helps me out at he does a lot of work for me. But I know he definitely needs a shout out because he's my boy. But was gonna say too. I don't know if you guys have D&Z Game Reaper baits. They're out of Sanford. The guy that makes D&Z scope mounts.
I have not.
I've been working with him, and we're actually going to come out with a line of baits that I'm going to basically test for 6 to 8 months and make sure they're the legit. But it's just a local run place. But he owns it's a machine shop in theory, so he makes all his own molds. He can make anything. He can make any colors, and I will tell you, I haven't used anything that I haven't caught them on. I mean, we just came out with a 11.5-inch like bullworm that literally you can put on a shaky head and it sits like this in the water, and it doesn't matter. They float. They actually all float without hooks in them. And just that guy has helped me. Tim is the owner. He's helped me out a lot. But there's going to be some good things that come from that, from that.
I need some of those bullworms.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to tell you, I'll show you a video.
I saw the
up
video
there.
you posted.
And it's like I went and talked to him in his office for like 45 minutes and came back out and the worm was still sitting like this.
Okay. No one else listen to that.
I mean, I always tell it's catch-22 when you design
Right.
something that those
I'm going
guys
to
have
beep
done, and it's
the
like,
name of the worm out.
I literally just don't want to tell anybody, but
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
I want them to, obviously
Be successful.
exactly, because if it wasn't for them, we talk about like a team, like the sponsors. It's not physically possible without it. Without help.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just unless you're a millionaire or something, which
None of us here are.
yeah. I mean, I work just like everybody else does, but my dad has a mineral company, Hooks Outdoors, that we sell. Don Higgins is the owner, but it's Real World Wildlife Products. Dad helps me out where he can. But yeah, True South, the John's my boy. Jeremy at JB Custom Rods. JB, when he was alive, he was really the first dude to ever really have faith in me. I've had plenty of rod offers throughout the years, but I just don't have it in me to leave just because of the sole fact that, he gave me my first 5 fishing rods
That's awesome.
that I ever had, like, custom built or whatever. But and like there's no loyalty in that. I feel like nowadays either. It's just about who and I'm sure that there's a better, cheaper, better. I don't know the word for it, but there's nobody that can replace that memory for me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Might be better, but it doesn't make you feel better.
Exactly. So like, you know what I mean? So, but companies like that, and like I said, y'all, especially local guys that contact Tim at D&Z, because if you have a special color, like he'll run them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to, you don't have
just
like,
give me 10 packs of everything Josh ordered.
Well, I'm not going to lie. He's got a couple of jig trailers that are, just something new to try. Everybody has their own stuff. And, I'm always one I'm a Zoom trickworm guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who isn't? But like, he makes one that's called the Plan B worm that it's a little bit different. It's got a bigger head on the end than, a trickworm does. But like, until you got to break out of your mold, you tie one on and you're like, damn, I catch just as many with these. And they're, to be honest with you, they're especially when we had like that black snot algae at Harris, if we had that worm then, because that thing sits up like that, I would have caught millions.
Does he make a all black worm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I need to know.
He's got, but the thing is, he can make any color you want. He does custom color orders. If you order over 100, I think he'll do anything.
Okay.
So check him out. Thanks for all the support, everybody else. Thanks you guys for having me too.
Absolutely.
You guys are my boys too.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude.
Man. Sweet.
You guys got anything?
I'm good.
Josh Hooks, man. It's really good to get to know you. I hope the audience had a great time listening to your story. I think that's the most important thing that we do here is we tell the story of the person behind the microphone, the person behind the jersey. So many times we're caught up in the, what happened on stage, what happened on the water, but there's so much more than that. You guys, yourself, the D team, the camaraderie, the fellowship, just the great experience that we all share. That's what we're most important. What's most important to us as far as like letting the audience know about. We appreciate you coming all the way down here. You're definitely a great friend of ours. We're going to get you back on the show. And Josh Hooks, everyone, he is somebody that helps us continue building a culture of anglers, helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.